I'd win.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of CedhTheLost, a podcast about CEDH. Today we're joined by two fellas. We have Parker and Nick. Say hi, guys.
Hello, it's us again.
You just assume my gender? What if I don't want to be a fella today?
Oh, my apologies. Anyway, moving on. We're doing a CDH6 tournament prep video, kind of like we did with Gabby's, because yeah, it did pretty good and it was fun. And we want to let you guys know what we're playing so we can still beat you. Is like the main reason why we're doing it. Anyway, we're gonna start with Parker today, because I think he has little changes, if any changes, with sisay.
Yeah, I don't think I actually have made any changes. I've been super busy the last few weeks since Gabby's tournament.
Because someone's been moving.
Yeah. I really liked adding Invasion back in and subbing out Dothy. It was really nice. It came up in a game where if I would have drawn Dothy instead of Invasion, I wouldn't have won the game. There's a couple pieces that I've been thinking about taking out and switching out, and mainly because of yapping with Bailey, but it's been interesting. Like, probably next thing on my list that comes out is a card that rhymes with Reigneth Magistrate.
Let's go!
And it's just because I drew it in top 16, and it just was not that great for me at that moment in time. So... and if it gets stolen from me, then I'm kind of sitting dead in the water without my commander. So, but yeah, games were fun. I'm really excited. I'm gonna get back into playing more this next week. So yeah.
Yeah, I will add to the Draenith. Everyone take it out, please. It's so bad. Please.
You can't make me.
Bro just wants to play his turn 1 rogsi without a Draenith Magistrate on the board.
I will die on this
turn 1
hill.
rogsi. Anyway, yeah, the deck has been performing for you, obviously. What are like your upcoming, like, what's the goal for this tournament?
I think my goal throughout is going to be win the tournaments. This one is, in my opinion, a bigger one for me than Gabby's. Because of the fact that it is a CEDH event and it's hosted by Marcus. And with being on the team, it means more to win this one than it would be for Gabby's. So my ultimate goal is to win this one.
Okay. Like, what's like what would you consider a disappointing record? Like, are you just all in, like, if I don't win, I'm disappointed? Or what's the line of success that you would consider a successful tournament?
I would say to have a successful tournament, I want to at least build myself a little more. I want to learn from my mistakes if I make any, and then I want to at least get one win. And I think it's not a successful tournament for myself if I do not learn from how I played or get at least one win.
Okay. Yeah, that all makes sense. You do play a lot of interaction.
I do play a lot of interaction.
I just
never
see
it.
List and I'm like, oh,
I just never see it for some reason. Everyone always has it, and I'm just like, I got my little land here in my hand.
Yeah.
To be fair, though,
land drops is always good.
Yeah, to be fair, though, my main game plan is I keep some risky hands with little amount of interaction to progress my game plan more than the others, because I play at a faster pace than other people. Fair. And I always try to win before anybody else can, and I force the windows. So that's why
that all makes sense.
I don't always see the interaction.
I know when we did the recap video, you were talking about Feybarrow Elder instead of Sanctum Weaver. Is that a change you're going to make before the tournament?
I honestly, that totally escaped my mind. I probably will go to Cosmics next week and pick up a Feybarrow Elder and try it out, and probably will be a change that I make. I think it's a needed change now that I think about it.
Sweet.
yeah, that will be the change that I make before this next tournament.
Faber is just a phenomenal card.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really hard to kill. You can swing with Derevi. You can clone it and with like other things and have a big blocker or like just a good mana dork. So I think it
It's
ultimately
just
has
so
its
good.
pros.
Tyvar can
Yeah.
untap it too, just for
Yeah.
it's just good.
You can make an artifact copy of it with Seaedh. There's so many ways that it just is good, and it doesn't die to one Bowmaster ETB.
Yeah, which is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to Nick's deck, which he has made a few changes. Last updated 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, the list was a little out of date, so I had to do some tweaking. I decided that Archivist was underperforming for me as a card, and I also didn't get as much value out of Devoted Druid and Swift as I thought I would. You can see there's an Archivist going out of the list 2 times there.
Yeah.
there was some questioning. But Endurance is just a really good point of interaction card. It goes through Ranger Captain, so I think it's worth playing. It also lets me loop my deck in certain weird cases where that might matter.
True.
And it's another card like Force of Vigor where it pitches a green dork that I don't want late game, so it's usually going to be free.
Yeah.
I also am on Kite Sail now, as I saw that recently played against me at Gabby's, and I was like, that's a good magic card.
Yep.
And it gets even better when I have a Null Rod effect out. I can turn someone's commander into a treasure token that they cannot sacrifice.
Can't sack. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it's a pretty good piece of removal. And it has Ward 1 for giggles too, so it's not going to get Bowmastered. I mean, 3 health, you can Lightning Bolt it, I guess, but pay 2 mana for it. And you're giving 2 opponents their things back as well. I just think
True.
it's also a flyer. Tymna Attacker. Great card.
True.
Also, if you can't get a like a Null Rod effect out, then it hits One Rings and other things that need to just art can be a big problem.
Yep, it's just a really good, really nice card to have out. I hit Carter's Nagila with it last night when there were 7 warriors on the board because we were about to get rolled over just by pure beats.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Kite Sail, especially in this deck. And then another card that you've added in was Scheming Fence, one of your pet cards in Falco. Why are we on this?
This is a meta call for me personally, of like the amount of Kenrith, Sisay, Nagila, all other Thrasios decks, just all these strong activated abilities that I will lose the game to if they're left unchecked. And I don't want to play Curse Totem because that shuts off my entire game plan. So this is another body. It also provides me value while taking away value from an opponent. So like gaining Kenrith's toolbox can be nice. Sisay tutors can matter a little bit. I can hit someone's One Ring and have a One Ring that doesn't do damage to me.
Yeah.
I can get a Bloom Tender or a Faber or Elder just to pump my own mana. It's just a phenomenal card. It's never really let me down when I've been playing it. And the absolute floor for it is, hey, it's a blue card. It pitches to Force of Will and Force of Negation.
Yeah. I think it's a very reasonable card. I built Blue Farm yesterday to see if I wanted to maybe play Blue Farm at the tournament, and it was in my pile of cards, maybe. Because Oppo's a bad magic card, because it never progresses your game plan. It only hinders your opponents until they remove it, or Scheming Fence against Sisay, which is the only real reason you play Oppo in your decks anymore, to beat Sisay. You can play Scheming Fence, name Sisay, there's 2 of them at the table. They have to find a way to remove this first before they win. But this becomes a Sisay, or this becomes Atlas's Kenrith.
That is the one downside of the card here, is it doesn't name a card, you pick a specific permanent. So if there are 2 Sisays, you can only hit 1.
Oh, interesting.
You cannot disable
both. That's fine.
Usually, you're going to see only one at the table, unless you're
unlucky.
Yeah.
Unless there's 19 of them.
Oh my god, there's so many.
Yeah, I was also thinking about Drawn and Linvala, which obviously you have, which obviously is a powerhouse.
Yep.
But I
put that in because of me.
like having both of them in, especially when we're gonna most likely see a 10th to a 5th of the meta being sisays, or even a third. Like if all 20 of the sisay pilots come down and play at this, that's a third of the players are on sisay.
Yeah, and then
Which
it
is just
also
hell.
all the Thrasioses, all the
Yeah.
Kenriths, the Nagilas, anybody with all of it, all the mana
Yeah.
dorks, it just hits so much.
Yeah, I
And
definitely
you
like
gain
that.
the abilities. Phenomenal.
Yeah, and then looking at your lands, we're still on 2 surveil lands, but we were talking yesterday on how you wanted to cut, I think it was the blue-green one.
Yeah, I was gonna
For
trade
the
the
blue-white
blue-green
one.
out for the blue-white,
Yeah.
just that way so that either surveil can help cast either of my commanders.
Yeah.
Just makes a little bit more sense. It's a tiny optimization, but it just seems reasonable to do. I just haven't grabbed a copy of the white-blue one yet, so I haven't swapped it in the list.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're still on ecological. That was like your little pet card for the deck. Still gas.
Yeah, hasn't let me down yet. I've cast it like 5 times, and it's done well every time. It's got people going, hey, can I read that card after the game? Do you want to talk to me about this?
Yeah.
And I think it's just really strong, and more people in creature-based decks should play it.
Yeah, for sure. And then this isn't really about your list because the list obviously performs, but enchantments, do you ever think like a survival of the fittest belongs in the deck?
Survival was actually one I considered.
Okay.
But I'm just not certain that I need,
That it does enough.
yeah, a permanent base tutor. It's a 3-mana tutor.
Yeah.
That has to discard a creature from my hand.
Yeah.
And the majority of the creatures I play, like, I'm not wanting to discard.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long
It's
as
just
you
kind of
have
a
a
tough
reason.
sell. Especially because I'm on 0 reanimation spells besides Finale.
Yeah,
And I guess
that's super
technically
fair.
ecological, but
Can ecological grab from graveyard?
Yeah.
it can.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so at a minimum, the floor with it, you can shuffle, even if they don't want to give you the cards that are in your grave, you get to shuffle them back into your library.
Yeah.
And then you can grab them
nice.
with a different tutor.
Have you thought
Yeah.
about like solitude? Or more like from creature removal, but also around ranger captains?
I considered Solitude, but the thing there is the number of white cards I have to actually make it free.
Oh, that's
Not
fair.
phenomenal.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
And
you
of
have
those ones that I do have,
24%
most of them are like Silence,
are double pips. Yeah.
That's fair.
Grand Abolisher,
Cards you don't want to
Cutsil.
be
Yeah,
exiling.
I don't want to be exiling them. I
Yeah.
want those to protect my win. Or
No,
Emil
that's
and
fair.
Derevi, I don't really want to discard those either.
Draineth Magistrate? No, it makes sense.
True.
I just thought it was an interesting thing because you were talking about how endurance gets around what's his name? Ranger Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was just a specific game scenario in one of my matches where if I'd had endurance in my list, I would have been able to prevent myself from losing the game, but I did not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good card.
Yeah, I think that's one reason I kept it in is because I technically can have a loop with it as well, where I can, if I get milled out and have an endurance in hand, I can put my library back, or if I have any reason to need my graveyard in gone back in my library, and then if people are trying to win the game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to my deck. You see, there's 2 of them.
Oh no.
This is Rogsi. Obviously, I've been playing it. I've been liking it. Got top 16. The deck's been cooking. There's quite a bit of changes that I want to make. I just haven't yet. Like not Wishclaw. Winter Orb's coming out. Grinding Station's gonna come out. I think I'm cutting one more land, going down to 23. And then there's a few other cards, like I think I can cut like Last Chance or the other one. And then Orcish Bowmasters is coming out. And then I think there was one instant that I also had in the list that's coming out. I think it was Limduel's Vault. I have it written down somewhere. To put in new cards from either the new set or have different interaction pieces. Like I think Cycrypt's gonna go in the deck. I'm cutting a land for I think Necrodominance. I'm still not sure if Necrodominance is even a good card. Of course, I think all those changes are gonna happen after the tournament if I do play rogsi, just so I don't put in 5 to 6 new cards that I don't know if they're actually good enough for the meta, just to be on the safe side. And then I think I put in Time Twister for the tournament because it's another way to attempt to win again. And then we go up on, that's 4 wheels, which is insane because that's some of your best hands is just turn 1 wheel.
Yeah, how do we, being on 4 wheels and cutting Bowmasters, I'm just kind of curious, like, is it just not providing you enough value, do you feel like?
But the reason why you normally play Bowmasters is when you're in the grindier matchups. Is like the theory behind it is that when you're in a grind meta with Ristic Studies and stuff, you can use Bowmaster to make it so people don't attack you unless it's with like a Crom or something. And it gives you 2 bodies for your sacrifice effects. But in the meta that we currently play in, I don't need that. And it is a really good card with the wheels, but I've played 50 plus games now with it, and I've had Bowmaster wheel once.
That's fair.
And you shouldn't be playing Bowmasters if you're trying to reach the ceiling, if the floor is not good enough.
Yeah. The way
like
I was kind of looking at it here
Yeah.
is you're not on anything that I would consider a board wipe
Yeah.
outside of the combination of Bowmaster and a wheel.
Yeah.
So there's no way for you to mass clear a problematic board.
Yeah. That's where Cycrypt comes in. Because I'm going to put Cycrypt in as another bounce spell, but it has the ultimatum of bouncing everything.
Yeah. I think
so
that's better then.
I did solve that problem. I at least attempted to. And then yeah, I'm having a real problem with like if Necrodominance is actually a good card, I will put it in the list real quick.
Seems interesting.
You
I
don't
think
need Smartly.
with the majority of your games that I've watched and seen, you end up on a breach line.
Yeah.
And Necrodominance does not support that, especially like if you're slotting in Cycrypt as another bounce spell, Cycrypt can't even help you take Necrodominance off the board.
Yeah. That's where like your Chain of Vapor technically can. Which a lot of the times when you're doing a Necropone's line, you end up using Chain of Vapor with like Born Upon the Wind as a ritual. So maybe you're okay with that. But that is something I'm definitely worried about. That's why if I do end up playing this deck, it's not going in because I need to test the card first. And then there's a few other cards from the new set I want to test, like Strict Serenade. I generally think that card is really bad, but maybe it belongs in rogsi, depending on how problematic creatures are. And maybe it's just a card that people slot in going into our meta of 19 sisays in a 100-person tournament, because it's a good card against sisay. But I think all those require testing before you just put them in and take out proven cards. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking with rogsi. If I do end up playing rogsi, the other deck is Blue Farm. I've had my qualms about Blue Farm in the past, but I think that was because of like my own like self-destructive tendencies of like having a bad mental state towards the deck. But I think I've improved as a human being and as a player drastically since I played Blue Farm. Because Blue Farm is my style of deck. I think I was just putting too much like outside pressure on myself of being like, it's the best deck in the format. You have to perform well to do it. But I don't think that's actually necessarily the case now. I just think that Blue Farm is underrepresented in the format again. And I don't think people actually know how to play against Blue Farm. Because when I see other people play Blue Farm, people aren't playing against Blue Farm correctly. Which I think is fascinating. That's why I picked up rogsi, because people in the meta don't know how to actually stop rogsi. And I think Blue Farm's in a position now where people have gone away from it, where you have an opportunity to be like, okay, I am just the best deck in the format. My commanders will just win me the game. Figure it out.
Yeah.
The deck's insane.
Yeah, you have an interesting approach to Blue Farm.
Yeah.
List building wise, that is.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I thought about some of the decisions that they might come out. I was talking to Jack. He was like famously been on Blue Farm for a lot of the major tournaments he plays in. I'm on Spellseeker with the Ephemerate package. I don't know if that's actually good, but I'm trying it out. Hopefully, I get enough games in by like Thursday with Blue Farm to know if I actually want to play the deck, because I'm confident enough in my ability to pilot rogsi, where I think I can focus and put all my energy into Blue Farm for a week to figure out if this is the deck I want to play. Haven't drawn Delny yet, but Delny with Tibna is insane. I really want to try like Tibna Malcolm. I just don't think it's in a good enough position in the format. And then we look at the guy that top forward at Gabi's with it. So maybe I'm just on crack. But Delny seems good with Tibna, so we're trying it out. Loyal Apprentice, my favorite Blue Farm card of all time.
This card
is insane.
I get it, but at the same time, it aggravates me.
Yeah,
it's insane though. Like, it really is.
Yeah, it's insane early game.
Yeah,
which
but
me and Nick were talking about.
Yeah.
Where like Draneth is really good early game because it turns off your opponent's early wins and early commanders and stuff like that. But it gets worse and worse as the game goes on. That's the same with Loyal Apprentice, which I do understand. But I have to look at it as what would I value more? A 1/3 Tibna attacker or a 2/1 haste Tibna attacker that makes more guys every turn? Both are bad late game, I will agree, but I think Loyal Apprentice just gives you like the nuts. Like turn 1 Draneth is good, but eventually your opponents will get around it. A turn 1 Loyal Apprentice, turn 2 Tibna is you are drawing 3 cards every turn from here on out. Because you're just gonna get a bunch of flyers. Which I think is good enough to play.
I also think Loyal Apprentice is fine later game because every time you go to combat, you're making a 1/1 with flying. So
yeah, like
unless
it's
they
a
have
blocker,
a flyer,
but
it's either a blocker or it's like you have an attacker that can get through.
I think it's just like the most contentious card in the list. Like you can look at all the other cards and be like, okay, I understand why they're here, but then I understand why there's qualms about Loyal Apprentice, but I have yet to be disappointed by a Loyal Apprentice every time I've played Blue Farm.
Thoughts on Notion Thief in the list? Are you not on enough wheels?
I'm just on Wheel of Fortune, which typically Blue Farm doesn't even play anymore. So maybe when I brought a deck box of cards for Blue Farm, and there was 2 Notion Thieves in that deck box, so it was definitely a card I thought about. I just think the way I play Blue Farm is a little more aggressive than a typical Blue Farm player for the most part, where I'm not going to have the ability to hold up 4 mana. Or
that's fair.
I don't think that's what the meta is like calling for right now. Because you need to be able to hold up actual interaction for like the sisays and stuff. Yeah, I just haven't had a need for it.
Yeah, Notion Thief's one
but
of
I've
those
also
cards
only played 4 games.
that it's been on my mind for my list as well.
Yeah.
Because I am in a position where I can hold up 4 mana quite a lot of the time, because conveniently that activates Thrasios.
Yeah. Yep.
Just the 1 toughness really gets to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Really hard card to keep around.
Yeah, but if you do it in response to someone drawing a bunch of cards, you're still getting the value out of it.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
4 mana is worth seeing 2 or 3, maybe even 4 more extra cards.
Yeah, possibly. I'm on,
Yeah.
notably, I'm on 2 Surveil lands, because I think they're just best cards in the game, unironically. I think I can technically go up 1 more fetch, I just think I didn't bring it with me, so I'll probably go up another fetch and cut maybe a Surveil land, or another card, like I'm on Watery Grave and Steam Vents. I don't know if I need to be on both of those, or like even Exotic Orchard I think isn't necessarily a good card. But yeah, I don't know what I'm playing, but I think it's gonna be Blue Farmer Rogsi. So 2 good decks, which I've actually been enjoying playing good decks recently, which I think is another testament of how I've grown as a player, where I don't need to be like quirky about it. Which is funny,
Change.
because we named the podcast CedhTheLost, and we wanted to all play Jank, and we're all playing good decks, minus maybe Nick.
Yeah, I'm still a
gonna be
little
playing-
questionable. The commanders are good. The build? Take it as you will. 28 creatures.
Okay, this
27,
is something
my bad.
I do question. Adna's in the list. Obviously Adna is one of my favorite cards to play, but I am on a lot of higher costed things with being on the Spellseeker line. And I'm on Talion. I'm on Deadly Rollick. So I'm on these higher spells. Do we think Adnaz is still good enough in blue font?
I have an opinion on this one for your list specifically.
Yeah.
So you're running Delny and Royal Apprentice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're leaning into the Timna plan for your card engine. You're going to be drawing your cards there.
Yep.
I don't think you need Adnaz. I don't think you even need Necropotence.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be drawing enough cards between your commanders, Delny, and other Ristics and Talions and other engines that you don't need those big burst cards that drain your life.
Yeah,
I agree.
I definitely agree on the Adnaz front. I think I still want to keep Necro in, because there's going to be those pods where I do want to attempt to go fast. And I don't know if Necro is how I go fast, but I think I still want to keep Necro in, because it doesn't really hurt anything. Is where I think I'm at with Necro.
Are you still on the Are you on the 3 mana extra turn spell?
I took it out for Jeweled Lotus because I wasn't playing Jeweled Lotus the first game that I played.
Seems like a reasonable cut.
Yeah, I think it might go back in. I'm still not sold on it. I wanted to try it out and it didn't come up. Notably, I did steal from Jack. I'm on Swords and Path to Exile, and Deadly Rollick. I'm on like a lot of removal spells. I'm on no board wipes, so maybe I go up like a Toxic Deluge or a Fire Covenant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably Fire Covenant for you with your Delny and your Apprentice and stuff hanging out.
Yeah, I agree with. I think I want some kind of board wipe or board clear effect other than just the Psych Rift, which isn't in the list actually. That's an interesting decision, Bailey.
Hit him with Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Yeah, maybe not that.
Hey, Timna and Delny live, man. Ragavan Lotho too. Just saying.
And then I do have a Trouble in Pairs. I still don't think the card's good, but I might put it in instead of the Adnaz just to test it out.
I think it's a good test.
I think if you're leaning like you're on Talion, Ristic, Smothering, like you're on all these huge value engines already. I think that's probably the direction your deck goes, is just stack those up.
Yeah, I think it's a card that I'm gonna test. Like, I'll even just move this to the sideboard right now and put in Trouble in Pairs.
My goat.
That's how you spell trouble, guys. But yeah, let's go back to Nick, because I forgot to ask you, Nick.
Oh.
What are your goals for the tournament? Like, what do you want to do?
Oh yeah, forgot about that. So historically, when I've gone to Laughing Dragon, I have performed terribly at both of the events I've been at. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to third time's the charm it and not do that. Notably, I am playing a deck now that I'm confident on and have performed well on, so I think that helps. And mentally,
Yeah.
like, I'll be in a lot better state for that.
Yeah.
But once again, no major misplays, and
Yeah.
just go home feeling like I played to the best of my ability,
Yeah.
even if that
That's
didn't
fair.
necessarily result in a top performance.
Yeah. Who are you driving down with? Like, is it gonna be Cart again? Like, who's your posse?
Yeah, I think probably just Carter.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know
makes
if
sense.
Henry's going to be doing things, but maybe we con him into coming along.
Maybe.
That way Carter can have a no wins buddy.
Damn.
Nah, Henry will get wins.
Yeah.
Henry showed up not having played Magic in 6 months and got a win. What did Carter
Yeah.
do? Not get wins.
Yeah, I think we need to help Carter with his Nagila list quite a bit. Like
Not
we
not
just
to
need
call
him.
you out, Carter, but we're calling you out. This is an intervention. You
Well,
had the
no,
win in
no.
your hand the other day, and
I
you
think
didn't
we
see
just
it.
need to have him play the game more because he only plays on Thursdays. So he plays
That's
like
also
3
true.
games
Yeah.
where we all play on like Thursdays and Saturdays, and then typically we or the group that we play with typically gets 1 or 2 more days in
Mhm.
of playing Magic. So we have a lot more practice, and I think that'll help, especially playing a turbo deck because you need the practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know you can play
Uh,
the game, Carter. You played Shorekai. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, really well. He
Bro,
did play
cooked
Shorekai
on
really good.
Sugar.
Yeah.
It's just it feeds dock sites so hard.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not gonna lie, I love playing a dock site against Shurekai, and then them being like, I have 8.
Yeah. Goals for me,
Shorekai could run strict
make
Serenade
top
now.
cut. True, and it definitely does. Goals for me, make top cut. Pretty simple. No matter what deck I'm playing one of the top 5 decks in the format. Either way I go. I'm leaning more towards blue farm at the moment, but of course next week's testing will decide that, because I kind of want to wait until I play test the other cards for rogsi before I bring rogsi, just so I get more comfortable with those cards, where blue farm doesn't really get any super big upgrades from the new set, so it's just kind of chilling.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like Rogsai is at a point right now where it's like in that in between where it's not technically fully built since the new set came out, and
Yeah.
you probably would feel more comfortable playing it when everything is correct.
Yeah, because I think the deck just changes drastically with the new set.
I'm of the opinion that if... Okay, go ahead, Parker.
Oh,
sorry.
I was and the main reason I thought about that is because when playing at Gabby's, was playing against I think his name's Connor. He was on the Eldrazi, and he was like, "I'm drawing like these cards," and I'm just like, if MH3 was out, this was a totally different card, and it's just like, you don't want to be playing a game where you're like seeing a hand like this should be a
what if
different
this
card.
card was this?
Yeah. And I feel like Blue Farm's at a good point where it doesn't need any of those cards, but Rogs, it will help your mental state not to be like, oh, I could have won the game if this was this card instead.
Yeah, if I had this instead. Yeah, which is fair. Go ahead, Nick. You had something?
Yeah, if you do go with Rogsai, I'm of the opinion that there is exactly one card you should take from MH3 with no testing, and it's the Red Flare. I don't
agree.
think there's any reason to not include that. The thing is insane.
Yeah, that card's a guaranteed staple in Rogsi, but like I'm thinking about playing the blue flare in Rogsi, just with how I play the deck, because it's almost every game I cast Rograk, so it will most likely be
cast
online.
Silas.
Yes, cast Silas. My apologies. Most games I do
good.
cast Rograk too.
I would hope so.
But yeah,
free.
so that's a card I have to think about as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of... I think the deck changes quite a bit with the new set. And I don't know if I want to play the old version or even like the new version without testing it. that's why I built Blue Farm, because it's a comfort deck for me. Every time I've played Blue Farm at a tournament, I've made top 4. I know how to play the deck, and I think I'm out of my head when it comes to Magic now, and I'm just living my best life.
Yeah.
He's a gamer.
I don't
He
want
is
to
a
kill
gamer.
myself every time I play this deck.
For real.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for today. We'll see you guys on the Saturday.
Before you end the episode, can you go to my comments real quick?
Oh, yes. We're famous now.
We're so back, baby. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna like his post. Oh no, I hear typing. Something I do want, you guys don't have to do it obviously, but I'm gonna do it, is in the description of whatever deck list I play, I'm gonna put the YouTube channel's link to the YouTube channel there. So when someone looks at the deck list, they can be like, oh, here's that, and then we get 2 more followers out of it, and then we're cooking then.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye out for those.
And I think next week is when I'm able to start posting links and stuff in the comments, which is going to be so helpful in the video description, because then I can link CDH, Atlas's YouTube and stuff like that, and we'll just be cooking. We'll be on next level gaming, and we're getting a channel logo and I think a banner. I have a coworker that's going to be working on it when they're in a different state, because they have no life. But super thankful for her. She's an amazing artist, and I'm excited to see what she does. I should probably actually message her as well, because she wanted concepts. But yeah, that's it for the episode. Big things coming. Live your best life. Turn one analyst every day.
Soldiers.
Whoa.
I need to press stop.
I was gonna say